Heard good things about Shelton Lewis. Had a pick six in the spring,
Yep.
in the scrimmage. So that was really nice to see. He's a true freshman, mid-year guy. They've kind of they've had some really nice things to say about him, and that he's really coming in very well. So possible he works his way into the rotation as well. So that's really cool. Another person that had a pick six in the game, Zaire Patterson, another guy that
Yes. Yep. There you go.
really needs to kind of take that next step. Dabo said that he's just the problem with him is being consistent, and having that want to having that want to become better as a player. So I think that's kind of a huge thing. Nice to hear. He also, when I was waiting to mention Josh Sapp, he's a guy that I'm really high on at tight end. Just really, they say he can do it all. Blocks well. Really, really tough matchup in the receiving game. Just a really good football player. So excited to see what he can do, and see how much he plays alongside Brenny. So I'm other than that, trying to think who else did he name. Those are some of the names that really stood out to me when he mentioned them. So
yeah, so and there's always a reason that Dabo shouts out certain guys, right? I feel like Dabo, and you could tell me how you feel about this too. It's kind of the last thing we'll talk about until we switch subjects, but I feel like Dabo talks to the media. Like when he's talking to the media, he's talking to his players, right? Especially when he's shouting out certain dudes and when he's articulating certain things and saying certain things. I feel like he's always like sending a message to his players in some way, which I think a lot of coaches do, and it's a super effective way, right? Because these dudes are watching interviews, right? Especially if their name's mentioned, they're definitely watching an interview. They're definitely tuned in on that kind of stuff. So I think it's an interesting outlet for coaches to use to kind of get their message out there and maybe say something to a player that they need to hear, right? Or some outward encouragement that they need to hear, get their name out into the media, help them to keep driving forward and keep on that grind because maybe they're not where they thought they would be at this point in time, right? So I always thought that was an interesting thing that coaches do when they talk to the media.
Absolutely, yeah.
Talking about Cole Turner, yeah. So a little bit about the wide receiver group. I talked earlier that we heard that Antonio Williams had a great spring or first scrimmage, right? So he caught a touchdown pass. He apparently had a great scrimmage. That's definitely one of the bigger question marks for this Clemson football team, right? Who's going to step up? Who's going to take that number one spot? Who's going to be all the complementary receivers, right? I think and Antonio Williams will obviously be a slot guy. I think I even saw an article where he was like, I underachieved last year. I don't know about all that, but I commend his drive.
Yeah.
I like where his head's at. The best is yet to come. Let's keep grinding, all that sort of stuff. So I think he's in the right headspace. Hopefully, a Bo Collins, he's not participating in spring. He's still recovering from the shoulder surgery, the shoulder cleanup that he had. You got an Adam Randall that got his opposite knee cleaned up from the ACL tear that he had. So his opposite knee got cleaned up. So we got a couple big name guys that are not participating on the receiving side of the ball. So I think the spring game will be, kind of interesting when it comes to the wide receivers, right? Maybe we see some of those young guys really get out there and perform. Maybe they buy themselves a little bit of playing time or, something like that come the fall. It's kind of all up in the air. The Clemson receiving room has been, the best way I can put it is underwhelming the past couple years, right? We've had some highlights, Antonio Williams. I think a Bo Collins has been probably pretty consistent. We lost a Joseph Ngata to the NFL draft, stuff like that. But that's definitely a big question. But you talk about a Cole Turner. That guy came onto the scene and bursted open in the last 4 games of the season, which was kind of the Clemson coaching staff's plans, right, for Cole Turner. And I tell you what, he did not disappoint, did he?
No.
He made everybody know who his name was. So it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out. But, lots of stuff to come. We still got the whole second half of spring to come. We still have the spring game to come. Plenty of stuff to break down. So it's going to be fun to watch it all unfold